Oh, superhero hookups. It's easy to imagine that if one was a superhero, it would be quite hard to date outside of the crime-fighting industry. Like, think about it. A lot of obstacles you'd have to get over. But really, for superheroes, the stakes in their everyday lives make the relationships they share between one another significantly more intense, and we can't help but be glued to the pages when one of those relationships unfolds. So today we are counting down the top 10 newest superhero couples. Now take that with a grain of salt. Some of these characters are characters who have hooked up in the past and have a history together, but we've been given recent news about that relationship, or it's been rekindled. Others are brand spanking new, others are, well, the beginnings of maybe something. We're also going to be looking at couples and hookups who have made the biggest splashes in recent times too. So with that in mind, let's get to it. And at number 10, Harley Quinn and Nightwing. Let's begin our list with a pairing that is the literal definition of a hookup: Harley Quinn and Nightwing. This unlikely pairing tickled each other's fancies in the Batman and Harley Quinn animated movie. Nightwing tails Harley from her undercover job, and she manages to knock him out. Next thing he knows, he's tied up to a bed and things get steamy. With Harley seducing him, Nightwing getting real hot under the collar, and Harley teasing him about thinking that he wasn't into girls. Little dig at his golden age history with Batman. She also takes a dig at him for his 90s hairstyles. Then the lights turn off, Harley gets on top of him, and then we cut to later, in which Batman interrupts the aftermath. Needless to say, it is definitely a scene you want to check out. And at number 9, Jean Grey and PYRO. Sort of. In a fantasy reality, we think. So PYRO hasn't really been in the Marvel Universe for some time now, but with the Dawn of X relaunch, PYRO has made a comeback in Marauders, in which he has a fantasy of sorts. Now in this fantasy, people are praising him, fawning over him, he's the best thing ever, and Jean Grey hits on him while she lies on the hood of a really sexy car. Sure, he is obviously imagining this, and as of this recording, the issue that this sequence is in actually hasn't come out yet. It comes out on March 4th. So if you're watching this and you've read the issue, let us know in the comments below if the fantasy PYRO and Jean Grey actually get it on. And at number 8, Ramone Watts and America Chavez. During the Fresh Start relaunch, the most recent iteration of the West Coast Avengers had America Chavez and Ramone Watts on the team, alongside Kate Bishop, Johnny Fuse Watts, Gwenpool, and Kid Omega. Now the team tried to get financed by starring in a reality show that followed their exploits, so we got some pretty intimate on-camera interview moments with them. Ramone, aka Alloy, started dating America before her powers became apparent, and when the couple were captured and put in harm's way, Ramone's mutant ability came to light. She's been permanently merged to vibranium, coating her body in an impenetrable vibranium suit that she can manipulate and control, similar to how the Venom symbiote can extend and form weapons. Anyway, these two were a totally adorable couple in a series that had some really wonderful, hilarious moments, and we miss it. Get to see them on dates, being real cute and stuff, and yeah, it's a good time. Next, number 7, Mystique and Destiny. I feel like I'm really leaning into the gay on this list. It's a good thing. While Mystique and Destiny's relationship is nothing new, recent news out of X-Men issue 6 gave us confirmation on something that fans have long suspected. Spoilers for this number, by the way, since that issue is pretty brand spanking new as of the time of this recording. While the relationship between Mystique and Irene Adler has long been brushed over, the issue confirms that the two were in fact married. In the current X-Men story arc, Xavier and Magneto continue to hold Irene's resurrection over Mystique's head, using her one true love as a way to bribe her allegiance to them. And in the issue, Mystique, pissed off at them, rightfully so, flat out shouts, "I want my wife back." Now it's the first time we've ever heard their marriage be acknowledged. At the time of their relationship's inception, Chris Claremont had to fight against Marvel editors and the still somewhat prevalent Comics Code Authority about having an LGBTQ romance depicted. We hadn't even seen the two kiss until 2019's History of the Marvel Universe issue 2. Irene died in Uncanny X-Men issue 255, knowing what was going to happen but wanted to save Raven, meaning at some point these two were married off-panel at some point prior to that. Moving on to number 6, Peter Parker and MJ in the MCU. Next up we have a couple from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, one that comic book fans have long been familiar with, except the MCU version is quite different than the Peter Parker and Mary Jane Watson that we know from the comics. Now in the recent Spider-Man Far From Home film, the second in Spidey's series from Disney and Marvel Studios, one of the many outcomes of the movie's conclusion includes Peter and MJ, which stands for Michelle Jones in this universe, admitting their mutual feelings for one another. It's adorable. And the big post-credit sequence involves them going on a really cute date where Peter swings with her through the New York City skyline, all before his identity is then cruelly revealed by J. Jonah Jameson, that is. Regardless, we're excited to finally have a couple in the MCU that we actually want to root for. Sorry, you all know that Bruce and Natasha were never gonna work. It was way too forced. And at number 5, Joker and Punchline. Okay, sure, our title is the newest superhero hookups, but let's make an exception for a very popular supervillain, one who has been single for quite a little while now while his ex has been making leaps and bounds. We're talking about the Joker and his new beau Punchline. Punchline is very different than Harley Quinn. She's cold, calculated, quite silent, and also a total sadist. The Joker considers her the funniest person that he's ever met in his life. Now, the character made a cameo in Batman issue 89, but made her full appearance in Year of the Villain, Hell Arisen issue 3. While she's barely been in the DC universe, her popularity amongst fans has skyrocketed, with sales, that is. Speaking of the Joker though, let's talk about what his ex has been up to with our next number. And at 4, Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. While the Joker is busy declaring war with Punchline at his side, Harley Quinn has been actively working towards turning a new leaf. And also a greener leaf, because you know, Poison Ivy, green in nature. Ivy and Harley were only relatively recently confirmed to be an actual couple after years of speculation, which root back all the way to their appearances on Batman the Animated Series together. They've flirted a whole lot. They've kissed quite a few times, and even found themselves as a pair in other alternate universes in the DC multiverse. But on DC's Twitter in 2015, it was confirmed that they were actually a couple. Between then and now, we've seen them romantically entangled, we've seen them break up, and we've seen everything in between, becoming one of the most liked couples in the DC universe in recent years. Unfortunately, it seems like DC is kind of squashing the couple once more. Heads up for spoilers for Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy issue 6 up ahead. Without giving too much away, Ivy says goodbye to Harley with a kiss on the forehead, which many fans felt was a major letdown and devalued the relationship, because she's essentially gonna go off and maybe die, so, But here's hoping that they always just kind of find a way back together. I wasn't kidding when I said heavy on the gay. Moving on to number 3, Black Widow and Winter Soldier. Like Mystique and Irene Adler, this is a couple that has been a thing for a long time. But back at the end of last year, we got to see this old flame reunite. Natasha Romanoff and Bucky Barnes, Black Widow and Winter Soldier. Now, the two first sparked relationship after Bucky was placed in Cairo sleep, found by the Soviets after his presumed death during World War II. He would train Natasha as a young assassin in the 1950s in the Red Room, and when the two started a romantic relationship, it was discovered and Bucky was put back in Cairo sleep and her training intensified. Now he's shown up in Web of Black Widow issue 2 after Nat has been reborn as a clone of herself with all of her memories after being killed during Secret Empire. And while the two don't hook up during their encounter, we do get a pretty sexy flashback of their more intimate moments from the past. Both of them in underwear. And at number 2, NICO Minoru and Carolina Dean. After 13 years of shippers wanting this pair to happen, runaway characters Carolina and NICO are finally a thing. It's been a long time in the making, with Carolina having harbored feelings for NICO after being rejected. We actually get a flashback scene of it in Runaways issue 12, which came out in 2018. And it is like significantly less harsh than what actually happened in the initial encounter that this, rejection occurred. The issue itself has NICO accompanying Carolina to a ball for her parents' charity that she's forced to attend, now that she's 18 and a member of the board. Carolina tells her how much having her there has made it easier for her to make it through the night, and then NICO admits that she was confused in the past and that she didn't know herself as she does now, asking Carolina to give her another chance. And she does. The two kiss and our hearts melt. Much of the new 2017 Runaways series has been aimed at fixing mistakes of the narrative's past, one of which many felt was NICO and Carolina not getting together. And finally, in at number 1, it's the X-Men throuple, people, Scott, Jean, and Wolverine. One of the questions many fans had after the first X-Men issue after Dawn of X was what was up with Logan, Jean, and Scott's bedrooms that all shared doors and were connected. They also seemed pretty chummy. So of course there rose speculations of the three of them being more of a throuple than Wolverine and Cyclops constantly duking out over Jean's affections. Spoilers for the recent X-Men issue 7, by the way. While things were hinted to some sort of open relationship defying the monogamy that we've seen from these three in the past, this recent issue depicts Wolverine and Scott sharing a moment in the middle of the night that contains some pretty intimate details. Scott comments about how Logan's body hair makes it too hot for him to sleep, teasing him. Scott invites Logan to an outing with Jean and the kids that they're training, with Logan saying, "Jeannie in a bikini," to which Scott replies, "Scott in a Speedo." Wolverine's response? Well, who could say no to that? While we've yet to see the throuple action actually play out, there's a lot of subtext going on, and a lot of fans hope it becomes a reality. Alright, there we have it, friends. We have definitely missed a lot of recent couples and hookups on this list, opting for some more of the popular romantic revelations of recent times. So be sure to give us a shout in those comments below and tell us who you would like to see in a part 2, and who we missed. Come on, we're ready for those comments. In the meantime though, thank you for watching, friends. If you guys dug this video, hit that thumbs up button, share it with a friend, and be sure to subscribe to Top 10 Nerd for more videos just like this one. I'll catch you all in the next one, guys.